What is up, guys? I'm back with another wrestling review from last night's AEW Rampage and Smackdown. Of course, Smackdown went before Rampage. Of course, it was great. It was incredible. Smackdown, we had Roman Reigns come out, of course, because Solo Sikoa called him out and stuff. And the Bloodline, the new Bloodline, beat the crap out of Roman Reigns tonight because Jacob Fatu returned and super kicked the heck out of Roman Reigns. I think personally, because of that reason alone, we should have had him return last because that ruins his momentum, you know? Like, he went from being the most longest reigning Universal Champion in history, one of the most longest reigning WWE champions of all time, over 1,000 days as champion, recently lost to Cody Rhodes, of course, WrestleMania, comes back SummerSlam, of course, dominates SmackDown after, and then this SmackDown, all of a sudden, he gets destroyed by a bunch of new guys. I mean, I get that they're the tag team champions and stuff, but storyline-wise, it should have been Jimmy Uso. It should have been Jimmy Uso. Like, if you think about it, it should have been Jimmy Uso returning at SummerSlam instead of Roman Reigns. Like, they could have at least had Roman Reigns return at Bad Blood, you know? It would have been incredible. It would have been great. The pop would have been incredible. And then Survivor Series. New Bloodline versus Old Bloodline. You could have built it up differently. But no. They decided to build it up like this. Also, speaking of which, on Raw, you know, of course, Sami Zayn and Jey Uso are like having this alliance and stuff, talking about how they're going to win the tag team titles. What is Triple H thinking, honestly? What is Paul Levesque thinking? Like, having Roman Reigns getting destroyed and having Sami Zayn tag and Jey Uso tag team up. I mean, I see that playing in. Of course, Sami Zayn and Jey Uso just beat Finn Balor and JD McDonough on Raw. And then on SmackDown, we get, and then we can have Sami Zayn and Jey Uso versus the Bloodline. That would be great. That would be great. You know? Champion versus champion match. Survivor Series. That builds to the new Old Bloodline versus the new Bloodline at Survivor Series. Which would be cool. Also on SmackDown tonight, we had Blair Davenport versus Naomi. Of course, Naomi lost because it's Blair Davenport. And then we had the Street Profits versus DIY number one contendership match for who's going to face the tag team champions, the Bloodline, next week. Of course, DIY lost, which means that the Street Profits will, of course, face the Bloodline next week. Also next week, we are going to have Logan Paul, L.A. Knight facing off against Santos Escobar for the United States Championship. A jobber versus a mid-carder. I mean, book it. I mean, Santos Escobar has barely been seen on TV since WrestleMania. Barely. And all of a sudden he's getting a title match. I mean, whatever. He's gonna lose. LA Knight's first title defense, of course. I feel like LA Knight, though, should face Logan Paul for the United States Championship. Like, that was kind of not really a good finish to the match at SummerSlam, especially because Logan Paul had his foot on the rope. I feel like we should have a rematch, you know. But yeah, that was SmackDown. Then, of course, on Rampage, we had the Conglomeration facing off against Private Party. That was cool. And nothing much else of note. Like, nothing really happened on Rampage. Of course, Tony Storm returned. which was cool, of course, because we had Soraya's all like birthday celebration and stuff, and apparently we're gonna have Tony Storm versus Soraya next Wednesday on Dynamite, which will be incredible. It will be great. And then of course tonight we have Collision, which will be absolutely incredible. And yeah, that was SmackDown. I'll be back tomorrow for another wrestling review from tonight's Collision. In the meantime, peace.